Lange Pause, mal wieder live. Wahnsinn. Sich an wie noch nie gestreamt. Ha! Ich dachte, es kommt jetzt sowas wie, ich war gar nicht lange weg. Doch, doch, also genau das. Und gerade meinem Computer sagen, dass er nicht komplett eskalieren soll, bitte. Und dann starten wir auch gleich einfach ins Game. Ich weiß nicht, wie laut, wie leise ich bin oder irgendwas in der Art, also gerne Feedback geben. Mich eh nicht lesen. Stellen. Okay. Szene sollte gewechselt sein, Game sollte sichtbar sein. Hausleiste sollte weg sein. Wunderbar. Wir spielen heute Stanley Parable. Für die, die das Spiel nicht kennen. Es hat so ein bisschen was von Simon Says. Ich weiß nicht mehr, wie die deutsche Abwandlung davon ist. Aber das wird sich zeigen. Vielleicht fällt es mir nur noch ein. Hängt etwas. Oh ja, ich sehe es gerade. Fest. Ja, Wellenbewegung. Umflatter mit den Händen. Über zugucken, was der Stream macht. Sieht besser aus. Scheint zu funktionieren. Also darf ich mir selber nicht zugucken. Warum zeigt es meine Task? Achso, ja, ich weiß. Eine Taskbar, wenn die Taskbar bei mir nicht sichtbar ist. Ja, cool. Ja, gut. Kriegen wir auch gelöst. Oh, ich habe die Uhrzeit falsch eingestellt. Halt, stopp. Dann einfach Alt F4. Ach ja. Wenn man ein Amateur ist, ist man ein Amateur, weil man dann ein Amateur sein kann. Dürfte weiterhin nicht hängen. Das kommt doch hin. Sekunde mal, warte. Okay. Ja, sag mir kurz was. Oh ja, stimmt. Eben auch. Ja, ja, ja. Mhm. Ah, okay. Bin eben ein ganz besonderes Kind. Haben wir auch schon immer gesagt. Aufmerksam, natürlich. Da sieht man, ADS sieht das anders. Da du so kooperativ warst, kannst du bei deinem nächsten Spielstart, wenn du diesen Bildschirm siehst, einfach deine Lieblingszeit einstellen. Oh ja. Ähm. Szene greift nicht. Okay, Moment. Eigentlich sollte die Szene greifen. Ach ja. Das Game, da bin ich und da geht's dann auch los. Und kommt, sollte für euch jetzt auch hörbar sein, nicht nur für mich. In Ordnung, dann starten wir doch einfach rein. Jetzt wird technisch, alles läuft.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Bereit.
And Stanley was happy.
Los.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked,
Was it?
frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Am I just that guy? Get up and step out of my office. Gut, ich bin schon aufgestanden. Ein rotes Licht. Ich weiß nicht, will ich da raus? Ah! No! Okay. War ja klar. Die 429 hat wieder ein Eckbüro. Ah, ein Fensterbüro. Angeber.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked,
So in Vollbild gehen. Kriegen wir jetzt nochmal Black Screen? Ich hoffe nicht.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Das sieht doch besser aus. Oh ne, stottert immer noch. Dann V-Sücken wir das Game doch mal. Besser aus. Gut, das Game mag V-Sync, dann geben wir ihm V-Sync. Carrying und Clearing seid ihr selbst verantwortlich. Also all unsere Kollegen sind weg.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Yeah.
No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Okay.
No, I'm still not feeling it.
Fühlt's nicht.
I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Okay, das ist sie. Ein bisschen Angst, dass die Tür wieder hinter mir zugeht. Hier 1,7. Für 4,1,7 gibt es bestimmt gar nicht. Los!
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Wait.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Hier 1,5.
Now, back to door number 437.
Tada!
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Ja, nee. Ja, kein Kopierer. Loser-Abteilung, nicht mal ein Kopierer.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430!
Ein Achievement. Falsche Richtung. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing.
Und ein Achievement für das Erhalten eines Achievements.
Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks.
Aber es ist 20.000 Klicks. Ich raste gleich komplett aus. Oh oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ginge durch die Tür auf der linken Seite. Ach, scheiß auf.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Das ist genau der Plan. Was? Ich wollte unbedingt zum Mitarbeiterbereich.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Hätte gerne Kaffee gehabt.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nimmt er diese? Macht sie zu. Nicht jetzt. Oh.
Stanley was so
No.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Hallo Mike. Was genau lagern wir hier eigentlich? Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Ja, wenn es sich nicht bewegt und ich springe da runter, sterbe ich auch. Hast du mal runtergeguckt? Strafzahlung für Springendes vom Lift springen, $5.000.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Ich habe keine Füße. Wie willst du mir was beweisen? Gefahr. Gefahr überall. I am the danger. Sharon. B3? Schade. Hätte funktionieren können. Ja, Mike, das Ziel ist ja.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Hello, hello, hello.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Yes.
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Ja.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because
No.
I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees?
Skill tree
Work
wäre
with
cool.
me. You've given
Springen
me
können.
absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Wie viel Vertrauen habe ich darin? Warum ist der Türknopf weg?
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Wo waren wir vorhin? Vorhin, da hinten. Vorhin.
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Worldwide Leaderboard. Good old Neil. 2 Sekunden braucht das Game zu beenden. Warte, was? Zeig mir meinen Rang. Auch. Das Root. Das Schmerz, weil ich ihm Schmerzen zugefügt habe mit seiner dummen 1. Okay? Okay, let's do this again.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Bock dem Kids.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable.
Ah, ich helfe, wo ich kann.
Hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Let's go. Oh. Und ich versuche irgendwas zu drücken. Errungenschaft freigeschaltet, du kannst nicht springen. Ist weiterhin offen, gut. mal geschieht schon mal nichts. Was meinst du mit 7 Stunden, Mike? Hier, meinte er.
No, it can't be.
Vorhin mit seinem Baby-Krabbelspiel.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any...
Amazing.
Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally
Ich will ein anderes Game stellen. Ich habe schon so viele Stunden da drin. Ich habe schon 1900 Stunden.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Sogar den Sound gemacht vom Ballspawn. Bin auf jeden Fall schneller.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun?
I am winning,
Is it better
Dad.
than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure... Hold on. What are you doing?
Ich wollte nicht runterfallen. Oh, brother.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much...
Springen. Kann ich springen. Runter. Oh. Okay. Oh. Dad. Ich hab die Milch gekauft. Du kannst jetzt wieder nach Hause kommen. Mein Licht. Oh. Das ist keine Replika, keine Spiegelung. Okay. Anderer Raum. Beobachte ich die Person da drin und ist da jemand? Springt da gleich was gegen die Scheibe? Zum Gehen zutrauen. Ah. Du Flip.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's
He
who
needs me.
That is
Well,
what I mean to
brother,
this world. Oh, yes.
let me tell you
Yes,
something.
I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I
Very
can
soon.
wait.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ich
Stanley
weiß
decided
nicht.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Türen werden zugemacht. Was ist das hier für ein Raum?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
Ja, ja.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Mhm. What's poppin', boys?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
So. Achso. Using slides to assure employees everything is okay. Make sure. Click blue graphic in the header. Okay. Okay, ja. Charts and Slides. Guter Graph, ja. Okay. Oh, hallo da.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ausnahmsweise.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Gut, wir gehen dem Erzähler nach. Was auch immer der Erzähler uns erzählt, tun wir es. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be. You have to pick just one. Kommt hier raus. Sollte ins Büro gehen, oder? Aber der Aufzug ist da. Eins, zwei, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, cha-cha-cha. No. nach unten gefahren und wieder im Büro angekommen. Aber ich bin nach unten Hat mich ja nicht fahren lassen. Gut. Mal kurz hinter die Theke. Mhm.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 8, 4, 5.
Ha! Okay, wir versuchen es richtig.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Hello. Hello. Nope. Nope. Ach. Fuck. Oh. No. Ihr könnt mich nicht gefangen halten. Ich bin ein Pinguin, ich will fliegen.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Wird es nicht?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ich meine, steht in roter Wachsmalkreide Escape. Also, ja. Ich drück den Button. Da ist ein Button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Nein. I am weak.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Das ist aus wie mein Büro, aber es ist es nicht. 427, da sind wir. Oh Mann, mein Büro ist voll dunkel. Das ist ein Drecksladen. Knopf.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time?
Ja.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ich war es. Die ganze Zeit. Ich kontrolliere ihn. Mit Maus und Tastatur. Okay, da ist ein Aufzug und da wieder rein.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Stimmt.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
power cells.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Bin ich nicht so der Typ, der irgendwas dismantelt. Eher so der Typ, der Knöpfchen drückt. Knöpfchen. Aktiviert. Oh. Oh, aber komme ich da nicht her? Komme ich da hinten her? Ich bin verwirrt.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Ich meine, scheinbar habe ich viele Jahre lang Anweisungen befolgt und ich wurde bezahlt. Miete, Essen, Strom, Gas. Eigentlich können wir das hier laufen lassen. Auf der anderen Seite.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
I am the machine.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
Yeah.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
No.
I mean, look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Game over?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Meeting room, yes.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Let's go!
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Muss ich...
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's go.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Content.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Lol, ich kann hier drin springen. Ich darf nicht mehr springen.
Is that it?
Das war der Hammer.
That's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Was ist alles, ich bin zufrieden.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
I'm not your friend. Pal. Good times, den Flur.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Nö. Seid her. Lüftungsschacht. Ausgedreckst. Der Sack.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Rückwärts. Oh, geht noch weiter.
I call it The memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Die Demo, die man damals spielen konnte, die nur noch mehr Lust auf das Game gemacht hat. Oh, Little Stanley ist ein Hamster.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Aber Elevator Content. Schade. Good times this game, good times, yes.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else.
Perfect.
It didn't need
Perfect.
new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Nein. So fies, kommt in den Raum gar nicht rein.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Der Typ sagt, dass der Typ kein Massivlick kann. Schade, dass du keinen kannst, der Typ.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. these black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
Ja, du hast mich schon
Perhaps the
ziemlich hängen
Stanley
lassen.
parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to
fast
stop
10
doing
Stunden.
anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh, ein Skip-Button. Ein FF wie Fast Forward. Nicht Forfeit, Fast Forward.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot.
Bang.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy rumination.
Warte.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this?
Let me start over.
From the ashes. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley. You're back. You're back. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks.
Oh.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about...
Warte. Ich skippe die Zeit. Ich bin der Time Master. Wie lange haltet ihr das aus?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a
Das ist
point. It
gestorben.
was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us.
War da nicht mal eine Tür? Button.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Wahrscheinlich kam das nicht durch, dass ich sehr amateurhaft gebeatboxt habe. Seinem Low, seinen Rhymes. Okay. Oh. Gewissen Punkt müsste doch hier alles der Fall. Hey, es ist wieder Tag. Warte. Er sagt ja, die Zeitsprünge werden immer länger. What is this? Juicy extra Content. Hat von der Seite gedrückt. Von unten. Hey, der... Nein. Button needs to be pushed. Los. Hallo, Button. Diese Billigware. Einmal einen Button über Wish. Oh, hallo da.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, Meeting Room it is. Oh, shiny. Kleiner Blick. Nein, Meeting Room.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, shiny new content for me. Meeting room, yeah.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Das ist alles.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Tschüss. Button.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
Absolut
that
gar
read
nicht.
Mind Control Facility.
Nope.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Nein, tut er nicht. Stanley ist kein Typ, der einfach stirbt.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Nehme meinen Tod mit offenen Armen an. Genau der Typ, der ich bin. Hier runter.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story. Trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Tschüss. Die Wand trifft mich zuerst. Die Pupse.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Wow.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
Hast du verloren?
Do you see now?
Ein Raumschiff.
Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Aktenschränke. Oh. No. Let's. Trennräume. Oder Raumtrenner. Großzügig für dir. Ah, ein Rad. Überlegt, dass das Game damals über auf der Source Engine lief und das heute könnte das dann die CSGO Engine sein? Oder heißt das Ding nur Go Engine? Und heißt das dann, wenn wir eine CSGO Engine haben, dass wir auch ein Garry's Mod? Ist das Zeitding? Begrenzt. Ich hatte das Gefühl, zumindest, dass ich gedrückt habe. Heißt das dann, dass wir auch eine Garry's Mod in dieser Engine machen können? Nein. Asking for a friend. Wie? Oh. Weird. Weird. Ja, hier kommen wir her. Okay, wir müssen auf jeden Fall rechts abbiegen. Ich halte wie so ein Dulli Shift gedrückt in der Hoffnung, dass es etwas verändert.
For the player to do anything in this room. Now then, this perfect example of poor level design, textbook mistakes. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most.
10 Outtakes. Richtig gut. Ah ja. Ich habe noch etwas tun. Ich meine mich zu erinnern, dass ich hier etwas tun kann. 2013 ist gerade so, ach, ganz entspannt, 9 Jahre her oder so. Also.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Hi.
Can you see? Can you see how
Nee,
much
ist
they
dunkel.
need one another?
Nein.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop. Now, and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Die Dunkelheit umarmte ihn. Oh, hi. Ladescreen. Was ist, wenn wir einfach nicht gehen? Wir schauen uns das Shell-Menü, den Bildschirm an und machen einfach nichts. Weil der Erzähler ist nicht mein leiblicher Vater. Nein, nein, nein.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do.
Yes.
Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Okay. Let's
All of
go.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's about time. New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay, auf in den Aufzug. Bis Tür. Aber sagt er ja, umsonst ist das Beste
You see,
gratis.
Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2. Yes,
Wow.
you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a
This
few
never
minor
end
additions?
again.
Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
Ultra Deluxe drückt das aus, was
What does it even mean?
in der Smartphone-Welt
But the
seit 600 Jahren vor
Stanley
sich geht.
Parable 2, now that's an
Ultra
artistic
Deluxe
statement
Pro
right
V2
there. It's
5G
future-oriented.
LTE
It screams
Max.
progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
5.1.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I
Ja,
figure
die zwei
that if I can loosely
probiert hat,
organize a
versucht
handful of
hat.
interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Beruhigungseimer. Unbedingt mal ein Beruhigungseimer.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle
bucket
embrace
haben.
of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more awaits you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Hat sie gereimt, muss wahr sein. Ist eine Tür. Ohne Türgriff. Ich den Eimer mitnehmen. Nice.
does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video? Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Absolut
You know,
Get Well
sometimes when
Someday.
you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that
Und
you
warum?
knew which.
Warum eines Tages? Steht dir nicht zu, ihm mal zu sagen, wie schnell er gesund werden soll. Es ist 2023. Komm endlich in der Gegenwart an. Hör auf, in der Vergangenheit zu leben, verdammt. Deine Spider-Senses werden hier nicht helfen.
One you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
You've betrayed me.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Full level, receive your achievement, no more steps. Let's go!
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and when you... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Erneut angelogen.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Der Jump Circle. No!
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well.
Jumps.
It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Nur ein bisschen traurig. Nicht richtig wütend, aber enttäuscht.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Yes, ich will sie alle
It
finden.
is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Absolut einzig Richtige. Der Bereich ist voll groß. Man macht einfach ein Geräusch beim Laufen. Nice.
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Ich hab badly gechoost. Ich choose hier gleich mal das Gesicht badly, Kollege. Weißt du mal, wer hier wen badlied?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Oh, electable. Und ab ins Loch. Oh, wait. Rückwärts.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me? Maybe you're the problem.
In Hackfleisch.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven... You see?
Hoppla.
I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my life. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working, just still nothing. Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Irgendwas macht da Geräusche. Wo wir, hallo? Bist der Erzählertyp? Vater! There's my boy! Oh no, my boy, for the help! Sehr dramatisch, ja. Genau so einen Kastenkopf will ich, ja.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space of mine. My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space of mine. My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space.
Afsluiten nu geweest, die waren dat gespeeld verweerd. Nou.
Ich liebe alles daran.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
Tüdelü. Ladescreen. Für wohin? Das Büro. Oh!
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Wo ist denn der Tisch doch? Nicht hinter dieser roten Wand. Der Handy-Sound.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button, which speaks... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
I am Jim.
Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name.
Yes.
Okay,
The best
we're doing
button.
it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself... Jim. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Okay.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says. But no. Instead, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Oh.
Jim.
Zack. Das Spiel hat, soweit ich weiß, ich glaube in der Ursprungsversion 27 verschiedene Endungen, wenn nicht mehr.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Dir ins Gesicht schlagen. Absolut. Tja. Bin ich mir sicher. Mhm.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Ja, dran vorbeigelaufen, ich habe einfach nicht hingeguckt. Eigentlich raus oder laufe ich da rein? Ah, das mit den Luftballons. Aktive Luftballons. Auf zum Loch. What is there to do? To do. Schon? Exit. Dann exiten wir doch den Exit.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Almost, yes.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it.
Insert
Tastefully,
it?
of course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
Einmal zum Beispiel.
Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction,
Stanley
this
Parable
is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ist super. Gerne. Zweiten Teil, im ersten Teil des zweiten
This is the
Teils
story of a man named Stanley.
des Remakes.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building
Balance.
where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made
Wir sind ein guter
exactly
Stanley.
for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Der Paket schon hier vorne.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Linke
open
Tür.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Dann ist doch hier irgendwo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
You found one of them. one of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared.
Okay.
It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself, being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice
Während ich meine Gedanken dachte ich darüber nach, wie Denken funktioniert.
How could it be? Was Stanley
Niemand
simply
denkt
deceiving
gedankenlos.
himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his
Schwäbisch
life.
nicht mehr.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all,
Schwäbisch.
he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
Würde gerne
Let me
aufwachen,
go
ja.
back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
Nee,
Everything will be
redet er gar nicht
fine.
normal.
I am okay.
Bisschen floaty.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I
Wake
have a
me up
boss. I have an
before
office.
you go-
I am
go.
real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting
Gut für dich,
to think
Mariella.
this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Dann drehte sie und rannte. Wir sind jetzt 2 Stunden im Stream, 2 Stunden im Game. Ich würde an dieser Stelle gerne einfach aussteigen. Zum einen, wir grinden das Game nicht. Nein. Nein, 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 nein. Das tun wir nicht. Zum anderen, grinden wir das Game nicht. Wir sind nicht solche Leute. Nee. Da ist noch ein bisschen... Alles klar, ich wurde überzeugt. Argumente waren zu gut. Das ist ein anderer Flur. Da ist der Bucket, den habe ich noch nicht gesehen. Und Abfahrt. Und Tür hinter mir zu und rechte Tür.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But
Abfahrt.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yep, Employee Lounge. Let's go.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meet, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
What
You
the
see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
No.
Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Ich lasse den Eimer nicht zurück.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
Nein.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Abgelehnt. Nein.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Will das nicht.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't
Kleiner Automat
destroy
für
your
diesen
bucket.
riesigen
Destroying
Eimer.
buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer
hasst den Eimer,
merchandise
ist
the fans
eifersüchtig.
will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Got him.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Oh, Bruder. Warum bist du so? Hopp. Kein Run mehr. Wir haben noch einen Run gemacht. Die Zugabe war da. Ist vorbei. Hat sich ausgerannt. Wie ihr seht. Meine Tür nicht zu machen.
All of his co-workers were gone. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And
Was ist
here
denn
it
mit dem Employee
was. Had
Lounge?
the bucket turned out to be correct? Was never
No,
mind.
the bucket was
Bucket was
wrong.
wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Morgen nochmal streamen. Die Möglichkeit besteht, garantieren tue ich nichts. Denn du bist nicht mehr leiblicher Vater. Nee, ja, also ich denke schon, je nach Laune und was halt morgen noch so ansteht. Es kann sein, dass wir morgen Stanley Parable spielen. Es kann sein, dass wir weitermachen mit A Plague Tale. Mike einfach weg. Cool, tschüss. Tschüss. Ja, mal gucken. Aber ich denke schon, dass da morgen noch ein bisschen was geht. Ansonsten. Nee, Parable 2. Nee, High on Life tatsächlich einfach aufstreamen. Dass ich da wirklich einfach mit rumdödeln kann. Das war so der Gedanke. Und jetzt hätte ich gern von jedem noch 2 richtig schlechte Tschüss-Sprüche und dann hauen wir den Stream auch raus. Das klingt doch nach einem guten Deal, oder? Und ciao, Kakao. Und noch 2. Und schön mit zählt nicht. Du wirst richtig Stummes hören. Ciao mit VG, wow. Schön mit war halt so einfach. Aligaro, oh no. Was? Aligaro? Why? Mike, what is this? Schmerz. Physische Schmerzen. Ja, das ist okay. 3. Nimm es oder lass es. Nee. Ich sag danke fürs Einschalten. Danke. Ach, Video 10. Danke für die technische Unterstützung da zu Beginn. Dass wir die Fehler finden und beheben konnten. Ansonsten Durchstream, wie Olli sagt, tschüss.